Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Brace for impact. Splat Studios, home of birds, proudly presents
TomHanksgiving, right here every Tuesday. TomHanksgiving, come on and press play. There's Elvis, the host with the most, yada 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 yada. With a different guest each week, they're the smart ones. Each episode's a new movie about Tom Hanks, the man himself. Of course, it's time for TomHanksgiving. It's the best you can get. It's the rootinest, tootinest podcast on the internet. TomHanksgiving.
Howdy, partner, and welcome to TomHanksgiving. This is your captain speaking, Elvis Kunesh, and very happy to be back after our summer hiatus. It's a big time for Tom Hanks fans because he's got 3 new movies coming out within the next 2 months. We're talking about one today, of course, and then potentially a 4th one once we get that final release date for The Circle. Very excited about that. And then, of course, today we're recording this on the weekend of September 9th. So it'll come out that Tuesday, the following Tuesday when you listen to this. And it's a big weekend because we have 2 Tom Hanks movies. One is finally the Meg Ryan directed final big reunion, Ithaca. But we'll be talking about that in a couple weeks, so you have a few more weeks to track that down, because I know it's hard to find. But this week, of course, we're tackling the big number, Clint Eastwood directed, Tom Hanks starring, Sully. And I am happily joined by the one, the only, Mr. Julian Terry.
Why, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for being my co-pilot on this episode.
I'm missing a mustache.
You are missing. We're both short mustaches this week, but we have the spirit of the stash with us.
It's beautiful.
Yes. So we literally just watched Sully. We went to the movie theater opening night with the other 40 people. No, this is so sad.
They're all probably reviewers.
We were texting earlier today. It's like, and you asked me like, did you reserve tickets? I'm like, yeah, you know what, I better do it just in case. We want to get there early. No, it's the IMAX theater too. We paid the IMAX tickets. It's this probably more than 155 people could sit in that theater, bigger than the plane in the goddamn movie, and it's not even half full. I was counting, and it was like less than 40 people. Yeah, we just watched this movie, and we're ready to talk about it.
Yeah.
But before we start, of course, Sully is about it is sort of the movie of the ripped from the headlines from a real story that happened in 2009, where a commercial passenger airline pilot Chesney Sullenberger,
That name.
colloquially known as Sully, because he's a big Monsters, Inc. fan, got hit by a couple of birds in the plane. They landed in the Hudson. Everybody lived. It was like a big success. Big thing for New York, especially because, they don't have great history with planes crashing there. More on that next week. And do you remember this when this actually happened? That's what I wanted to get to.
Yeah, I kind of remember this.
It's a very minor blur. I know it happened, but I don't remember if I watched it on TV as it was happening. I don't remember it being this huge news story that this movie obviously makes it to be.
Well, I just remember, seeing it on TV a few times. Mm-hmm. I just don't remember Tom Hanks yelling "bird" a bunch of times.
But not just Tom Hanks.
No, everyone yelled "bird."
We'll get to the simulations in a minute.
God.
But so was this a big story? Do you remember, were you scared? I guess it happened so fast you probably weren't scared.
I know. I mean, it's one of those things that you kind of get that event that comes by, and it's either really interesting or really, really shitty. I don't know. It kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this one obviously turned out to be a good thing. Although it's what you wouldn't celebrate the plane taking off, successfully landing anywhere.
No.
So that's the good thing that could have happened. This is technically a bad thing. It just could have been so much worse. So it's great that all these people actually lived.
Yeah.
That there was the only harm was minor injuries and A plane obviously went down.
Well, it's really interesting, actually. I'm not sure how... maybe Clint Eastwood kept it pretty accurately, but
Yeah.
American Sniper did have a lot of stuff that wasn't accurate.
Which makes sense with when you're adapting a real life story to a movie anyway. You kind of have to do that.
Yeah.
Because you're at that point you're building to a truth of the movie, and movies in general, art in general perhaps, but especially movies are all about getting to a truth through lies. And we're kind of cutting to the deeper stuff right away here.
Oh, it is kind of deep. I was just hoping for, like, if I was directing it, I would have added at least just one Tom Hanks sex scene. Just like, if you're going to go...
There's not enough Tom Hanks sex scene. Goddamn it, we have Laura Linney in this movie, who I love. I adore Laura Linney. She's wonderful. She brings so much charm and warmth, and she's kind of like Tom Hanks in that way. You put her in a movie, and instantly, I love her. She's so much empathy warranted just by Linney casting. I mean, huge part of that is the finale of Frasier. She comes in. She's in that final season. Absolute adorable sweetheart. She's in this movie. She's the wife of Sully.
Yeah.
Doesn't share the screen with him once. It's always over the phone.
Over the phone.
And it's like, you got these two great actors, and we're deprived of actually getting... I mean, I guess that's the story, but Jesus Christ. We're jumping around in time. There's not one scene. We couldn't get them together?
They jumped back in time to, like, young Hanks, and he's like, oh, you're going to fly the plane, son. And he's like, yeah, and then nothing ever again.
Oh, my God.
Never go back to that actor. It's just so weird. The flashbacks were so bizarre. I guess we could... I don't know.
No,
have an organization.
Let's have an organization to match the movie, which will be all over the fucking place. Okay,
wait. So, we could repeat the opening 4 times if you want.
Well, I kind of did at the beginning, but I won't use that part. This is a bad movie. I think it's obvious to say when nobody showed up to the theater. I'm here because I'm a Hanks fan down there. I'm a completionist. But Jesus Christ, is this a sleepwalker of a movie? We saw this on IMAX, and nothing, like, I have never been so bored.
Well,
it wasn't Marauders bad.
No, that was pretty
painful.
Bad.
This was not painful. This was just like, how long until this is over?
Well, we kept looking at each other, and then all of a sudden they would repeat the crash sequence.
How many times did we see the crash sequence?
Yeah.
And there's like... It's like okay. Before we go into that,
of course.
Clint Eastwood, he directed this. I'm very unfamiliar with most of his directing work. Are you more familiar on that?
I think so. I mean,
how is he as a director? Like, he's supposed to be better than this, right?
Well,
is this just him turning in like, I need to do something this year?
Okay, so this is the thing. I love me some Eastwood acting any day. Unforgiven. Probably one of the best of his films for me. Like, he directed that one so well. I can watch that one mixed with all my other westerns that I love. When it comes down to...
I'm up there with Toy Story 2 and Back to the Future Part 3. Those are my favorite westerns.
Favorite westerns.
Maybe Rango on a Sunday is not the best.
But,
I'm terrible. I'm terrible. Toy Story 2, the last part is a western.
I could see that.
He rides Bullseye like the wind.
It's
also
something.
at an airport. A lot of airports in Tom Hanks movies. A lot of planes. Terminal. Catch Me If You Can. A lot of planes.
At the beginning of
Castaway. Oh, big one.
That's how you do a freaking crash, man. That was
so
well done
God,
in Castaway.
that fucking crash is so beautiful. It's such a scary scene.
Well, okay, so I was thinking about it when, before I even came to the theater, I was thinking about, because, I don't know, I think about, like, the top intense, scary plane crashes.
Yeah.
Like, Flight was a recent one that was pretty intense.
Another Robert Zemeckis film.
A Zemeckis film.
He loves his planes, too.
He likes crashing planes. I remember that one was really interesting. An old Jeff Bridges movie I remember seeing.
King
Fearless.
Kong.
Close enough.
Sorry. No.
Fearless King Kong is actually the title.
I never saw Fearless. I only know it from that Simpsons joke.
Oh.
Your in-flight movie will be fearless. Or no, that might be a Mystery Science Theater joke. It's probably Mystery Science Theater.
Probably.
But Yeah, I never saw it, but okay, that's
Yeah.
another scary plane crash movie.
I mean, it's a great sequence. It stays with you. It's really haunting. I mean, Castaway was so well done. It felt like
and that was
in it.
That was like at the point where probably the first time where they really had the technology to make it so ridiculous. I mean, that was their second episode millions of years ago on the Tomhanksgiving podcast, and we love that sequence. That was the whole
it's
hour of the show, probably.
Yeah. I mean, it's so thrilling. Like I you watch the scene, and the first time he's on the plane, it's like kind of rocky, and then he lands, everything's cool. Then that second time, oh man, he's like hanging off a door, shit's going everywhere.
Yeah.
The plane is going nosediving into the water. Oh man, I love that.
So to go back to Clint Eastwood, because you're more familiar with him as a director.
Sure.
Does he have a problem with indecision in most of his movies?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I feel like he's a pretty good director. Like, what is it?
That's what he's known. He's known to be a pretty good director.
Yeah, I mean, he pulls some pretty good performances.
Also he's known for being insane and talking like to a chair, and other things. But
I mean, he has been in the headlines recently for some of the racy stuff.
Oh, very racist.
But
too. Yes.
yeah, my big thing is I don't know, man. I like Mystic River. I remember I was excited to watch. It kind of fell for me a little bit. I guess like a lot of his films recently, of course, $1 Million Baby was fun, but they all kind of feel like a little sterile. Like there's a sterile kind of feel. Like he kind of wants to like show you everything. I almost get that same kind of feel from like Ron Howard, where you kind of are shown things, but there isn't like a life force.
There
like,
isn't a perspective,
blood.
maybe.
Yeah, like the camera has to be a character in a way.
Yeah. Because it's almost as if. And I'm really only speaking to this movie because we just watched it. And going back to what I mentioned about indecision, we see this plane go down so many times, and it's almost like on the behind the scenes side, it's like I don't know which version I want to show the audience, which perspective works.
The opening showed it crash through a building.
well, the opening is interesting, and it's bad, but it's interesting because it's at least like. Wait, are we seeing the whole thing? Like, because the movie starts off and you hear the audio of, we hitting birds, we're going down. So you think it's going to be, we're fucking starting with the landing. This is kind of, all right, let's just fucking do it.
I was excited.
Kind of into it, because it's like, this is, and if we get it out of the way, then we can like figure out what the hell the movie's about, because it obviously can't just be the plane crash, right? Well, that would be stupid.
That would be stupid.
But no, the movie then pulls a fake out because the plane goes 9/11's in the city, and then of course we wake up and Tom Hanks is like, oh god, and it's just we're doing that.
Yeah. Well,
this movie has like outside of voiceover, it has like the most hackneyed, boring cliches. It has multiple dream sequences to motivate. To demonstrate any internalness in our main character. It has bizarre, pointless flashbacks constantly.
The corny sidekick.
And the time jumping. Like they work with the flashbacks because we'll flash back to another sequence of the plane crashing or him landing a plane correctly at a different time in his life. And it takes so long. It's like a 10-minute sequence. And then, oh, wait, we're back in the bar because this was the beginning of a flashback. Yeah. He thought of this for 10 minutes. He's
on the phone and then he zones out into the crash
That was the longest one.
Yeah.
He's on the phone with Laura Linney. And he's like, I don't know, maybe I made a mistake.
Yeah.
And then it's the first time we actually see the entire sequence. Yeah. The full real thing. And it's like cuts back and we see the birds and it goes down. And that's like when the boats come too.
Yeah. Oh, no. The boats was the second one.
Okay, well,
but the first one I remember when, basically it showed the plane about to go down and then it would cut to like some exterior shots, but then it showed the guys over the phone, right?
The air traffic controller.
And so they're
who I thought was good.
Yeah, and he was like crying. You're like, okay, so we're watching from his perspective.
Yeah, I like that. That was maybe my favorite
showing
one.
The crash sequence over and again. We still see it land in the water every time, and that dulls the impact a whole lot when you see it over and over again.
And that thing lasts like 18 minutes probably. Yeah. And then we cut back and Tom Hanks is just sitting there on his flip phone with Laura Linney. It's like, oh gee, we're still in this conversation? And he says, I gotta go. So it's like, why did we cut back to that? What? This movie is so bonkers, and not in a crazy fun way. This is, well, it's fun because, like, we kept looking at each other like, is it really making this dumb of a choice?
Well, the thing is, I thought it was funny when it got to a point where, like, some of the dream sequences was so back-to-back, it just showed that they had nothing else to put in there.
And that's the thing. Yeah. This movie is so, okay, the real story... not judging the real story, because obviously that's a whole thing, and reality is weird. Yeah. And it's a great that all these people lived. And I don't know if it was as huge of a crime. I'm assuming...
You wanted people to die, didn't you?
I didn't want people to die.
Bastard.
Not this time. But it would have been more interesting somewhere. But no. Okay. So I am sure there was controversy about Sully and, like, the whole going through it when it really happened. But, like, for a movie, your stakes is, like... Did this guy do the right thing? Everybody died. It's basically like I'm beating around the bush. The main conflict, just to clarify, is he obviously chose to dive into the river, miraculously saved everyone, but the simulations and all this bullshit are like, dude, you could have made it back to LaGuardia, which then I guess everybody would have lived and the plane wouldn't have crashed and it wouldn't have been a big deal. It's like so splitting hairs at that point. It's not that dramatic. It doesn't, like, we needed way more interiority from the character or something else to make this a movie conflict. Well, the thing is, so light.
We're sitting there for hours, you know.
Like, that can be half a movie, a subplot, a scene, but it's the
like,
whole
hey, you might
feature.
lose your, license or whatever. You might never be able to fly again. That's
which we saw that
scary.
in, like, 1 or 2 scenes was weighing on him.
I don't know. I just feel like they could have given a little something more. Like, maybe if it was something like he's getting over the crash. Yeah, there was they overused the dream nightmare sequences a little bit, but... You think?
No, but to their credit, there was a part where it was like, oh, are we, like, dealing with a PTSD with him? That was interesting. I was excited,
where I was like, oh, maybe this could be interesting, you know? Yeah. Maybe we're going to get over the flight with him, and then all of a sudden...
It's like it's stuck with him.
It only takes place over a few days.
Yeah, I mean, despite the fact that we keep flashing back to different years for some reason.
Oh my god. Can we please just talk about these flashbacks?
Yeah, all right, let's dive into the flashbacks.
The first one, he gets thrown into, his flight with his dad. And we get a young actor, because Tom Hanks is too old to play young Tom Hanks now. Yeah. And it's like just a biplane. Yeah, something simple.
And they're like, oh, we're flying. And was there any drama to it?
No, his dad just said, like, oh, keep on flying. Like, there was nothing, it was not like, like anything where he had a fear of crash.
No.
It didn't really have to do with really anything except his flight with his dad, I guess.
I guess it was just like, I've been flying my whole life. Yeah, that was the movie. The movie was like, I've been flying my whole life. Let's cut back to a sequence when he's like 28 and he's flying. Yeah. Like, he's probably younger, actually. And then we cut back and it's like, oh, the movie's still going? Shit. All right, next scene. Where's Aaron Eckhart? Let's bring him in.
We're not going to bring back that kid actor, though.
No.
It's through on that little sepia tone, and that was it.
I think the worst one, though... I mean, I guess that one was technically worse because it did absolutely nothing. Yeah. But the one where he goes running and then he sees on the battleship just the fighter plane or whatever it is, the military plane, and it cuts back to him. At some point, he was in the army or in the Air Force, and he's flying the plane and it's like damaged, and he's got another plane guy with him, and they're going down, and it's like I can make the runway. But for this one, they actually got Hanks to be in it, but they cover his face. You can see like 2 square inches of his eyes, and you hear his voice, so you know it's him. But it's like what are we doing? Like,
honestly, I couldn't hear what they were saying.
No, it was just like, oh, you can't get it, you're never going to make it.
Roger.
And then he makes it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, there's the plane butt shaking. I don't know. I remember being actually more scared about Top Gun when that thing's going and that's a comedy. Yeah. But the thing is, when that plane was, that flashback, I don't know, like, that went on for way too long. They're like, okay, is it going to crash? Dun, 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 dun. Oh, they land. Yeah. And I don't know, like, that... A lot of the stuff did not have to be... There was so much fluff. Like, I feel like they were like, oh, we really want to make a very touching story about this very real thing that happened.
Yeah, that's totally what they're doing.
And they were like, okay, let's do this. And then the studios were like, yo, we should capitalize on that crash sequence. We can make it thrilling. And it's like, yeah, we could. But how do we go ahead and keep an exciting audience in their seats by showing that crash over and over again?
I gotta wonder.
Every 20 minutes, it felt like. It was bad.
I have to wonder, like, is this something that they, like... Well, they obviously shot it that many different ways, that many different times. But, like, did the screenplay read like this? Where it's like, and then we see the plane crash again. Like,
yeah.
what is this? Like, who structured this movie? This has to be some change in editing or something. But it feels... Maybe you're right in that it just feels like they tested audience the hell out of it. It's like, we're bored. Let's show the plane crash again.
Yeah.
Let's throw in another 20-minute sequence of the plane. Well, okay. Yeah. To this movie's credit, and to Clint Eastwood's credit, like I can't remember which one, but one of the scenes where we go down, I was like, okay, I'm into this. It's probably the one where they're getting on the wings and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then we get the fairies coming in. It's like, all right, this is good. Their stuff is happening.
And the scuba cops.
The scuba cops are cool. And it's like, we're actually seeing this thing. This is kind of why the movie happens. It's the most cinematic thing in the movie. It's not very... Tom Hanks is not very... Sully's not very involved in that scene.
No.
It's more just like, let's see these people. And it works, though, because it's like, oh, something is happening. It's exciting and whatnot. But the whole thing, especially... One, at the point in the movie where it comes in, it completely works against the movie. Because it's like, we're not worried for any of these people. We already know all of them live. And granted, we would know that from reality anyway, but like at least if you put it at the beginning of the movie before they say that, you get to be in that moment. But it's like, we've talked for an hour at this point, and it's like... I was trying to compliment the movie, and then I turned it into it. So I'm sorry, but no, like the moment to moment stuff, like the water coming in, exciting.
Yeah, that was exciting, but and it was following a few characters, but we were kind of thrown off by the rest of it, though. Like I feel like that's the issue when you're stuck. Like I don't know. Like I love Clint Eastwood. I would have loved if this was made. Obviously, it couldn't have been done because I think Sidney Lumet died around that time. Yeah. But he would have been great to do this one when he was kicking.
Ooh, I could see that.
You know, like, he was so into just following those characters, and I was like, man, like, and it's just really a shame.
Now, I don't know, now that you're saying that, like, this is slightly in a different direction, but I wonder if almost casting, we're going to talk about Tom Hanks in a second, but, like, by having Tom Hanks be Sully... the movie was kind of forced to be just about him, whereas, like, it might have been interesting to see, like, if we're going to go through the plane crash that many times, let's have, like, the movie split up with 3 different characters. Like, let's follow that passenger.
Yeah.
Let's follow one of the flight attendants, and let's follow... Because we have, like, one prime passenger. I don't know the actress's name, but she's great. She pops up in everything. She was one of George's girlfriends in Seinfeld who had the chopsticks and the papier-mâché hats. So she's delightful. I always love when she pops up.
I totally forgot about that.
But yeah, like we get glimpses, little vignettes of these characters, the passengers. Yeah. But like the most exciting thing was being with the passengers on the landing and the escape. So I don't know. Part of me was kind of like I wanted to see what their lives were after the crash, not just Sully's.
Yeah.
And I think the big problem there is that I mean, granted, okay, there's some stuff that it happened in real life. It's a thing that we can capitalize on, but the movie doesn't make me feel like there's really anything to Sully. Like, and the ending is way more absolutely does that because it's he's a guy who did the right thing, the right time, and he's a hero. But is he a hero? Yeah, he's totally a hero. He did the exact right thing. Which is interesting because that's kind of why you cast Tom Hanks. Mm-hmm. We've talked about that many times on the show before, that when you cast Tom Hanks, you kind of get this a lot of stuff for free. This free empathy, this free, we know, we like him, he's a good guy. And sometimes you can use that to your advantage to subvert expectations, like A League of Their Own, or...
Road to Perdition.
Or Road to Perdition, right.
Yeah, he was pretty good. Crazy.
Right. So you're playing against that likable Hanks. And here's an interesting one where it kind of works too, because it's like, we assume Tom Hanks... We assume Sully is as good of a guy as Tom Hanks is.
Yeah.
So that's why you would cast him, but the whole movie's about... is he really a good guy? Did he fuck up? But I don't know. It doesn't weigh on Sully for me.
I think I know what the problem is.
Go for it.
So this is what I feel like. When you watch this movie, you realize something's missing.
Yeah.
Because they've played this thing over and over again. What's missing from this? It feels like
Drama?
Well, it felt like there was no real B story to it. You know, you had our storyline, but, you know, your love is, you know, on the phone. For some reason, it's always daytime for her.
Yeah. Well, I imagine she was, like, on the coast.
Yeah, but, you know, he's
LA.
calling, like, at night and during the daytime. It looked like they had her for, like, a day.
Yeah.
Just like, okay, let's fill it out.
Let's just get it
over with. I don't know, like, it didn't really feel like there was a strong B storyline for him.
I don't know if you need a B story, because we both love movies where it's just an A story, and it's just about this thing happening.
Yeah, but there's always some sort of underlying, like, emotion.
You're right, yeah, that's okay,
That's
yeah,
what I'm
that's
looking
what you're getting
for.
at then, yeah,
Yeah.
because there's not, like, you feel like Sully is like,
Yeah.
did I do the right thing?
Yeah.
But he doesn't, there's no development there. He's
And
just
he's-
kind of like works it out.
And one thing I love seeing in movies when a character is alone and you actually get to see what this person is like alone. Like, how's this person dealing with this? But we always just cut to like some dream sequence or a flashback.
Yeah, there's no arc for Sully in this movie.
No, and
He doesn't change. Like, he goes through shit, but he doesn't change.
No,
and this is a movie where, like, you don't always have to have an arc for your main character, but, like, that's the only thing going on in this movie.
yeah, and it's called Sully. It's about.
I mean, I guess you could argue the point that, it's the city of New York and the people who are condemning him that change, but...
you mean the
But-
dickhole that was
Yeah,
running
Mike
the
O'Malley
aviation-
from
Yeah.
Guts, getting on the aggro crag.
That was so wacky. I mean,
Yeah, I guess that, but the movie wasn't really focused on their change. I guess that's a way you could look at it, because it's like, we do need heroes like Sully. So the world you should change is potentially, but they didn't. None of the scenes we didn't spend enough time with those characters. They were just one-dimensional, unlikable dudes until the
Exactly.
woman took over and Mike O'Malley stopped talking.
Well, also, like, he's just sitting on the phone, like, like the.
We'll give you
yeah,
35 seconds.
Yeah, 35 seconds. And, like, is that the big twist? The human element that has to be added
Which
to the computers?
they were saying
so-
from the beginning.
So, wait, real fast. So, the whole thing is the simulation is saying that he could have landed the plane at LaGuardia Airport.
Yeah.
And Tom Hanks is like, but what about the human element? The whole time they're like, well, we ran the simulation with people and stuff, and I don't know, that was pretty wacky. And then they finally
climax
factored it
is
in.
ridiculous. The climax where they're having the public hearing, and they have like a live video feed to, I guess, real pilots doing a simulation.
Well, this is the funny thing. They went ahead and said, this was a big deal to go ahead and organize and stuff. And then they showed that, they're like, let's go to the link of the past stuff. And you're like, wait a minute. So these people done with their simulations? I guess they're still hanging out there.
Yeah, it's a live simulation. Which is,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's why it was a pain to organize, because it has to be
Yes.
live. But yeah, it's such a cheesy thing to look like. I mean, I'm sure that's authentic to what it actually looks like when they do them and then they show them the actual trial. But it looks so terrible. It looks like
God.
Birdemic suddenly became the movie. And I'm not just saying that because of the cheesy bird graphics. It's like, I mean, I know these people aren't like acting, but it's like, birds, the plane's going down. It's so bad. And this is the climax of our movie.
It's cutting between 3 camera angles on this stupid simulation.
Right, well, it's the simulation
behind their heads.
camera.
Yeah.
Which is like, okay, that would make sense because, like, that's how it would actually look in our movie, in real life.
Yeah.
But then, we get the cinematic
close-up.
eye goes into it. And it's like, you can't do that. You have to do one or the other.
Well, I feel like you get in there, but the thing is, it just showed the back of their head a little bit, and then they were like, I don't know, these actors weren't like, it wasn't the most gripping thing. You're sitting there, and they go, birds.
Which,
Read
I mean,
this.
I guess it adds to his point where it's like they acted robotically, so you
guess.
missed the human element, but it was just so cheesy, so boring. Like, I can't believe that was the climax to our movie, which, like, I would have rather seen the plane crash again.
Well, remember, you got to see it right after.
That's true. We did see it. Fuck. All right, I take it back. We've seen it.
Again.
How many times did we see it? 8?
I don't know, but it comes up
At least 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had seen it so many times, and then we finally get to the hearing, and he's like, "Ha! I told you, the human element," because we see these really cheesy fucking things, and it's like,
Oh
I
my
guess
God.
you're right.
It's like trying to play some music too as you're watching this thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that was just
But it's like-
really... What's the character doing at this point, though? What has the character actually done?
Well, that's the thing. Like, he gets his victory, whatever, as small as it may be, by having them admit, you're right. By doing the simulations, they did it 17 times. It's when you need to prepare, it doesn't work. You are correct. Now, let's watch the scene again.
Yeah.
Let's listen to the audio and go through the whole fucking thing. And then, what happens after that? Aaron Eckhart makes a joke.
Yeah,
And then we
that's it.
cut to the credits and footage of the real people.
Yeah.
We didn't need to do that again.
No.
They just needed to end on something bigger than birds.
Birds.
So,
Well, the other thing, I mean, so basically, you had to have the main character do something. And so the biggest decision that saves the movie is saying, wait, you have to factor in the human element. And then they went ahead and add 35 seconds. That just doesn't seem like... I don't know. It's not like he had a different decision before that in the beginning of the movie.
yeah, he hasn't really
not
changed
like-
his viewpoint.
Yeah. And nothing ever changed.
Again, it's just like, this could have been maybe like an act of a movie. This is so stretched out.
And you could have had that nice
So light.
sex scene at the end. where you
With
laugh.
Laura Linney. God
could've
damn, I
been
wanted to
hot.
see some Laura Linney.
I would have
sex.
liked seeing some old Hanks.
I mean, we got a little bit of Hank's nipples.
Yeah, I got Hank
I was
nipples.
happy we got a little Hank's nipples.
He was getting steamy in the beginning.
That was good. That was the
Yeah.
best part of the movie for me. No, Jesus Christ. Okay. Actually, we gotta talk about Tom Hanks.
Uh-oh.
What did you think about his performance in this movie? Tom Hanks, the one guy, worthy of his own holiday and podcast. That's what we're doing right now.
Of course.
Incredible. Great in everything, outside of a few caveats I've mentioned before, but even then, he's still good. He's so good in Bachelor Party, I actually hate his performance, but that's kind of working toward... We talked about that. I'm not going to get into the whole Bachelor Party thing again. You know how it sets me off. But this movie...
Oh, this one.
His performance left me cold. What was he doing?
He was, here's the thing.
I couldn't get into him.
Well, so in the beginning, I was kind of like, okay, I'm kind of feeling like he's kind of, frozen from this
Yeah,
crash.
maybe a shell-shocked
But
thing.
then the thing is, he never showed emotions too much. He, kind of, at one point, when he got, the only exciting part was when he saves those people on the thing, and he actually cries when he hears he saved all those souls.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, emotions. I forgot there are emotions in this movie.
Yeah, but what was the big choice? Yeah, for a minute I was like, is he just shell shocked? Is that why he's so guarded? And then there's moments like that, and then the moment where we got to see him pick up the magazine before the flight. It's another flashback, of course. He's super charming with one of the cash register girl.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, there's my Hanks.
There's a Hank.
He's making a choice. I understand who his character is now. But he's so cold and distant.
But there's a way to play it, and I think honestly it comes down to the direction, because he had
Obviously, Hanks.
but yeah,
It's not Hanks.
yeah. Oh no, but I'm just saying in terms of shocked and broken. That's what was him in Saving Private Ryan. He was completely broken in the beginning, but you know what? He still had the strong character though. And you're like, yeah, that's awesome. I don't know. I think there's something
there are some Hanks primes you go to.
But then you have Sean Connery as just one person. You know what I mean? There's diversity.
I mean, I guess a lot of people are true and are correct in saying that he plays Tom Hanks when he shows up, which I think I kind of mentioned it before. When you get Tom Hanks, Tom Hanks comes with that good guy quality, but then it depends on the script and the direction you go in that alters that, and then he has a range after that.
Well, I think...
Which is why, the character Chuck Nolan from Castaway is so different from him in A League of Their Own. But...
Oh, man. Castaway, he was definitely feeling it, though. He had that stone feel, but then also went to have, his emotional Wilson moments.
Yeah, that whole movie,
good.
works because you have this connection with Hanks, and like his choice is
so powerful at the end.
It's great, but this movie, I am shocked that like I'm struggling to find like to get a read on who Sully is in this movie. Not the, like maybe his performance and Clint Eastwood directed him to be as like this person in real life. Like this is such a
no. I think it's something else because
I don't know what it is.
Because he would just stare off, and then they would just push in with the camera at his face when he's looking off somewhere.
I mean, it's very minimalist, I guess.
But this is the thing though. I noticed this with other Eastwood films. There's not too much like you don't see that kind of emotional kind of ride.
So that makes so it definitely makes sense within the Eastwood aesthetic.
Yeah, I guess, but also I don't know. I noticed this with a few different directors where you don't like even though there's like an emotional beat that's obviously supposed to be there, it's kind of glazed over, and they just don't have it.
Well, that's there's a difference between like that and throwing away a moment, which I always like when it's like an actor like they have the moment, but but they don't seize it. They like let it just pass, and like it's there on screen if you're paying attention, and it just makes it feel so much more real.
Yeah,
and I love that, but I didn't get that in this movie.
No, there was nothing where I don't know. I don't remember him really smiling at all either.
There's a couple moments, and like that's like okay, he feels like a person again, but and it's not that like obviously this is kind of a bummer, stressful situation for the character. But I still don't know. Like, was he just like withdrawn and like I can't get a read on this guy.
Yeah,
and it's difficult because like even the Hanks performances I don't like. I get who he's going for. Mm-hmm. So this is not good.
I know. I don't know.
I didn't want to come back and be all negative, especially about Hanks.
Yeah,
maybe the movie, but Hanks.
Hanks is such a
he's terrific, but. I mean, I think I felt like I got more of a connection with Aaron Eckhart's character, the co-pilot.
He was a character.
He had a choice. Like he felt like a person.
Yeah. He went from like being broken up to like trying to cheer up old Hanks. Mm-hmm. He went on like the walk with him, and that showed more of his character. Yeah. And I was like, wow, this is cool. But then you have cold Hanks, and you're like, oh, but.
And it's not. And we're not even saying like cold as in like he's a jerk and he's cold to the other characters. Just cold as in like I'm not getting any receptiveness to this character.
Yeah, he's so shut in that we can't get in as an audience.
Yeah, and that's so unlike him as a performer. No. So I don't know what the does that tie in with the movie, the theme, the character at all? Can you think of it? I mean,
he's just. It's not like it would be one thing if it showed him like somehow digressing from that feel. Like afterwards, but no, they never showed anything. They could have done so much of showing his character somehow getting through.
Well, especially because we have all of these flashbacks. We have this opportunity to create this juxtaposition, but we don't do that. Yeah, we never do that. He's always just the same. Not again, cold is there not quite the right word, but like this distant, kind of guarded dude,
shell of a man.
Yeah, he feels like a shell, but without any real reason, especially in the flashbacks.
Yeah.
It's so...
I was expecting, like, when they mentioned, like, a therapist, I was like, oh, maybe they're going to bring, like, therapy into this, and maybe he's going to...
Paul Giamatti would have been great to play that part.
Amazing. Oh, he always looks like a great therapist.
Mm-hmm. We could have got Kelsey Grammer back. Finally do another Tom Hanks Kelsey Grammer picture. Toy Story 2. Best movie ever.
Quite amazing.
But shit.
But we did see the trailer for Inferno.
I can't believe, for as much as we shat on about Da Vinci Code, I am 1,000 times more excited for Inferno than I am for Sully.
It's like
because I joked for one of the trailers we saw that it assaulted me with like not even like the movie as being stupid, but just like the way the trailer is cut. It's in your face, every line,
dun, dun,
everything.
Dun, 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 dun.
The Inferno trailer is like Jesus. They're giving us every line of exposition.
Yeah.
Is a wall of text hitting you with Tom Hanks' face, which I would normally love, and I kind of do, even now.
It was one thing when the first one came out, because I read the book, and I was like, but, and then it kind of hit. Angels Demons seemed like it just kind of cranked it up a notch, And this one, when I saw that trailer, I was like, this is just, they've gone bananas.
It's balls out.
They were like, whatever, you know what, just have your money. You know, like, I feel like that's what they're doing now. They're just shelling, like, there's no middle ground in movies anymore.
No.
This could have been, you know what? This could have been probably really good if it was some sort of mid-range movie.
Sully?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
It's too big for its britches.
That's the thing.
It needed to be like a Netflix movie.
Yeah, it's not an event movie. It should have been like a smaller film. It could have
show the plane crash twice.
If that.
Well, you show it once for like the big scene, and then once for the recontextualization at the end.
Yeah, or even just, you know.
But yeah, it could have been small. Like, I mean, granted, you want Tom Hanks, and I guess when you get Tom Hanks, you need to make it a huge movie. But that really works against this movie.
But there was so much CGI, man.
It needed to be so small.
There was so much blue screen.
And for the amount of story in this movie, it's so much wasted money.
Yeah, they could have made it a whole lot.
Which is... I mean, like, I'm expecting Inferno to be terrible as well. But at least with Inferno, it's like, fuck it. Let's make it as insane as possible.
Well, let's gonna throw it all.
It might be bad, but you'll be having a great time. Sully is so boring.
Oh my god.
Like, I'm sure most of our listeners, like, maybe you're not surprised, but damn, I was at least optimistic. Like...
Oh no, but I'm telling you, man, it's all like this direction that we're working with, like this, you know, like Whiplash, man. When I saw that thing,
kinetic,
so kinetic, just two characters,
small movie,
small movie, and it made the characters so much bigger though.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when you work with like, it makes the event so much more intense too. If you take like that's one thing I loved about you know, now we have Aaron Eckhart. I think of The Dark Knight when Nolan said he wanted to put Batman in real world settings and just keep it there. It made all those actions so much more grander.
For sure.
And you're like, oh man, this is awesome. Like if you go ahead and take like an event like a plane crashing in the Hudson, if you go ahead and show these massive wide shots of it going and crashing and waves splashing and all this other stuff, and then you show it over again and you have people screaming and stuff. Yes, but you make it, that's showing it from the beginning, and it feels like you're watching one of those old school, like epic, you know, crash movies, you know, these big catastrophic films. And then, but if you watch it from like a smaller character's perspective and you're watching it from inside the plane, it becomes so much bigger, you know, if you follow a character and actually build to this situation.
I think the plane crash in this movie took longer than the Titanic sinking in James Cameron's film.
At least the Titanic, at least they built up to it and didn't have to show it again.
Right. Yeah, the Titanic makes sense for that movie. It's such a huge thing that, of course, we're going to need that. That'll fulfill the whole movie. We're going to make it as big and grandiose as possible. But you're right. This deserves to be a smaller movie because there's so little story. And the event, while tragic, while heroic, while whatever, it's not a whole movie. We can't see it 9 times. We need to see it once and make it a strong choice from whose perspective we're seeing it at.
He also did some amazing things years later. You know, like, I would love to have seen his character change afterwards, you know, like...
I mean, especially if we're going to use that flashback format. Let's really get who Sully is now, who Sully was a kid.
Yeah.
Like,
let's see him actually see his kids and his wife.
Yeah, I mean, have a scene with Laura Linney. Maybe they're getting it on. Just saying.
Just putting it out there. I mean, one thing, though, to think about is Titanic, because they only showed that event once.
Yeah.
And they showed it at the end of the movie, and Cameron was like, you know what? You're gonna be pumped to see this. You're probably gonna sit your ass to see it.
We were when we started the podcast. We were like, the movie theoretically starts with the plane crash. It's like, oh, that's an exciting choice because like,
it's different.
What's gonna happen afterward? But you're right with the Titanic example, where it's like, you know it's coming, so that innately builds anticipation.
And you know it's coming in this one.
Yeah.
You know,
but it just happens right away, kind of, and then a million other times. This is a movie where. We've talked about it for too long that I think it deserves designated. But it's so lacking in choice and it's so stretched incredibly thin. I think you're absolutely right. This could have worked as a mid-range, small budget studio picture.
Yeah,
put it out as a Netflix original movie or something. I mean, I would hate to lose another Hanks in a canon if he's not going to go in for a smaller paycheck. But like, it honestly would have made the movie more. Because if it's a smaller picture, then you don't have to spend all this time on the CGI, on the plane crashes, and you could have found something to do with Sully.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I don't really feel like I ever connected with Sully, which is a shock from a Tom Hanks character.
Yeah.
From a Tom Hanks performance. And I don't feel like I really got what his whole point was.
Yeah, I don't know. There's also like something, maybe it's because I do come from doing lots of cinematography. The camera they use it's a massive Alexa 65 camera. It's 65 millimeter film. There's something that happens in your head, I think, where you're working with a massive film format. It's used for like massive epic sequences, but when you shove it in someone's face for a whole drama, I feel like that grows in your head where you're watching like this weird depth of field the whole time.
Yeah, there's something about there's something clinical about the cinematography.
Yeah.
Which I guess is kind of Eastwood style.
Yeah, I guess, but it's like it was all on tripods most of the time. Very, carefully done stuff. No real character,
No, yeah. So it's a lifeless movie. Everybody, I honestly, it feels like everybody's just sleepwalking through this movie. And I know half the audience was napping through it. So
yeah, I mean, I was really bummed, man. I was really excited for something kind of bigger.
Seeing Hanks again in a big picture, pairing with a brand new director, and it is a bummer.
Well, what is it? Eastwood is like, how old is he now?
He's fucking crazy old.
He said,
old
what is
now.
it? He wants to keep making movies till he dies.
Well, he's gonna die pretty soon.
It's pretty bad.
He's crazy racist old grandpa.
Yeah,
old now.
he's hitting that level.
Yeah.
I don't know. What other thoughts do you have, sir?
I'm hopeful for Ithaca in a way that I wasn't before.
So I just want to go ahead and hang out because I went through a really rough breakup in college.
Yeah.
And Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan got me through it. I watched everything they did together, and it was probably like it made me fall in love with Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks. Like I just wanted.
They're America's sweethearts. So they were anyway.
Yeah, I mean they still are.
Tom Hanks still is.
I'm curious to see what Meg Ryan does with her direction.
I'm curious. We'll see if it's better than Eastwood's. At this point, it kind of has to be.
I mean, that was rough.
It's such a rough movie.
Yeah, man. I feel like I just miss like the good old like character dramas.
They're still out there. I mean, a lot of them are on TV now. A lot of them are on independent, but you still get them. Like what came out? There's been a lot of people have been shitting on movies this year, but there's been a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
There's a great Hanks movie that came out this year. It's called A Hologram for the King. Check it out if you haven't. We talked about it. We have it in the back episodes. Listen to it. That's a fun episode. But this one was too, despite the movie being a piece of garbage.
Oh my god.
It's so boring and lifeless.
But yeah, one thing that did draw me a lot out, this could also be from the epic kind of feel. I just wanted to mention
Please.
this CGI and the blue screen. It just sits in the back of your head. That's what I think is also clinical. Like things are so perfect.
It was mostly good, but there was a couple shots where you could really like. There's that one. I think it's the one with the fairies approaching the people.
Oh yeah,
it looks so bad.
That was
like,
corny.
Is this Arrested Development? Because they can get away with it there, but like here, Jesus Christ.
Oh my god. I mean, it's just being embraced so much. Like I don't know. Did you see the movie The Walk?
I didn't see it. No.
I mean, when I saw the trailer for that one, I remember seeing just how clean these shots were, and I don't know, like, and I feel like that takes away from these character dramas when you go ahead and you actually get into it and you feel them, and I don't know, there's something about like actually, embracing.
I mean,
something.
It doesn't help when the entire aesthetic of the movie and the entire performances of the movie, the cinematography, all of it adds up to this kind of clinical, distant feeling. Like there's such a weird dissonance with this movie. We're supposed to be relating to Sully. We're supposed to be feeling like he's a hero. But honestly, like the whole movie, I'm supposed to be like, am I supposed to feel the opposite because of the way it's shot, the way it looks? It's weird.
It's very weird. I mean, there were times where I was like, like we're about to see the plane crash. I'm like, oh yeah. I'm excited. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, it didn't feel like it hit though. it still landed, but it didn't feel like, like the Christopher Nolan, like, dun, 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 like, where you're like, oh my God,
the one
we're
thing,
about to crash this plane.
I was happy that the plane crash wasn't over dramatized. There wasn't any, like, huge explosions.
No,
even the sound
not.
sounded, like, pretty accurate. Mm-hmm. It's loud and punctual, but it's not, like, overly dramatic, like how when you shoot a gun, it always sounds like a rifle shooting.
I mean, I kind of just felt like, I guess the pacing of it just felt a little off.
The pacing was fucked. From the beginning with the flashbacks and the dream sequences.
That's very true. But I'm just talking about pacing within the scene of the crash.
Oh, really?
Like
yeah.
that didn't feel like it had that hit,
Which one?
Oh, yeah.
There was at least one where I was into it.
I mean,
I don't remember. I think it was the one with the boats, but I can't remember.
The thing is, when you show it, the problem I have is when you're showing like this intense moment. The one I felt the most was when you watch it from the passengers. And the passengers are all like, freaking out, and they're like, "Oh my God!" And texting his wife saying, "I love you." And you're like, "Oh my God!"
It's a little nakedly manipulative, but like that's the tools when you're a filmmaker. But yeah, that scene's probably the better one. Yeah. And there's something really chilling about how all the flight attendants are doing like the in unison cheer, like,
oh yeah.
Brace, brace, or whatever it is. And
that was kind of weird. I don't know.
It was unsettling, though, in a way that made me uncomfortable and, like, kind of spooky. It was like, if that was happening, like, this is not helping. This is
like
making
the
it scarier.
unison brace was kind of weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I don't know what happens at that situation if, like,
I'm sure
alarms go off.
That's got to be accurate.
Yeah.
But yeah, that made it. That was a choice there. Like, it was like, okay, this is kind of weird and uncomfortable. Like, they couldn't go too spooky with it. Obviously, it's not that kind of movie. But that little piece was like, this is freaky. And it was nice to see something interesting in the movie.
Yeah.
We've circled around. We've talked about it enough.
Of course.
Any last thoughts on Sully, Mr. Julian Terry?
Oh man. Well, I guess I'd love to just. I don't know. I would have loved to see like another like young director handle this. Like somebody that just was like, just someone like Damien Chazelle or somebody. Someone that really like has that character-driven kind of approach.
You know what? Now I'm thinking though, like maybe we're being Mike O'Malley. We're like, anyone else could have done this. This could have been better. And Clint Eastwood's trying to tell us. Yeah. I called it. I could feel it. This is the only way the movie was gonna happen.
Yeah. Oh
maybe we're being Mike.
Yeah, it's totally happening. He was sitting there like he was shaking his head. He's like, "You have to put in the human element." Well, yeah, you should have put in the human element to the movie. Yeah. That's what was missing from this movie.
I mean, and he pulled in the big guns, the most human element you get, Tom Hanks. Somehow still didn't happen.
That's insane.
Wow.
Yeah, you throw in the most human actor out there.
But you know what? It's not the worst thing that's ever happened to Tom Hanks with a plane crash in New York City.
Oh, no.
We'll be talking about that in Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close next week, so don't forget to join us for that. Julian, thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, why, thank you. What a lovely office you have here.
It's great, isn't it?
Oh, my gosh. I can see so far into Hollywood. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, and there's Tom Hanks' house right now. He's waving to us. How's it going, buddy?
He's giving you the finger.
Oh, he found he can lip read, and he knows we just shut on his movie.
Do you think we can get this show to him? Do you think he can listen?
I don't want him to listen to this one.
I'd love to. Maybe not this one. But do you think you can get him to
Let's send him our Catch Me If You Can episode.
Oh, that sounds nice.
A Toy Story one. Oh, man, so many good ones.
Oh, man. Instead of just shitting on him.
Where can people find you, Julian?
Oh, well...
You have a channel, you have an Instagram, and bullshit like that?
Oh, God.
Do you not want the attention?
I guess you can go to my Facebook profile. I don't know.
You're just trying to get friends?
I gotta get some friends. No,
you can either go there. You can check out some videos or something.
Yeah.
JulianTerry.com?
I guess, yeah, JulianTerry.com. I haven't checked that website in a while, but it's linked to my Vimeo that has some stuff.
Hey, there you go.
Oh, well, I am working on a project coming up.
Ooh.
Yeah, so maybe we'll talk about that one in the future.
Yeah, is there a thing they can follow so they can find out more when it comes out?
I guess my...
Your Instagram?
Yeah, how about Instagram? Julian Movies.
Julian Movies.
I don't have too much on there. It has pictures of food from a project we didn't finish.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, this is not my first podcast. I've lost my virginity just a month ago to another one. And he asked the same question. Oh, where can we follow you? And he's like, oh, I'll link to your Instagram. I'm like, oh God, no. And I got over like 500 new followers.
Really?
And I was like, this is great.
That won't happen on this
Oh no, this is the wrong kind of shit. But I'm like, great. You have all these cinematographers and people friending me, and they're looking at my food pictures of my junk food. Oh, great. I have nothing. I felt like I gotta put a picture up now of like something on a movie set, but I was like, God, I don't know what else to do.
You still have that footage. You could cut together that video and release it.
I could.
Oh, man.
But that's a lot of work.
Yeah, fuck that. Well, if you're still managing to listen to us, you can follow me at Elvis Kunesh. Follow the show at tomhankspod to find out what if there's any changes in the schedule and all the updates. And like I said, we'll be back next week for Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. Just a week shy of the 9/11 anniversary.
Oh, man. You know how to celebrate, don't you?
It's going to be intense. Until then, thanks for listening.
Tom Hanks, we fell in love with you, Tom Hanks, just like so many do deeply, because you made us smile, and your great on-screen style. So that's why we give thanks. 'Cause you got a friend in Tom Hanks, Tom Hanks, Tom Hanks.
Birds.
Birds.